trouble for that. And please, just all of the actual recordings and the court pleadings. Communications with OCS, I could care less. But the court pleadings and the recordings need to come down as soon as humanly possible.
You mean even the ones where I was reporting the endangerment of the kids? Because all of that stuff I did a while ago.
That's fine. I don't care. But just the stuff where it's like conversations with OCS, like that meeting that we had with her lawyer, or with their lawyer, and her, Joanne. Remember that first conversation with Joanne?
Okay.
So here's the hope. So I called, there's a lawyer at Alaska Legal Services. Her name is Savannah. She works with tribes statewide in China cases and other kinds of cases.
Okay.
And a while back, she had contacted me saying that they were looking at potentially doing a class action lawsuit because they had evidence of OCS statewide changing the ORCA notes. That's the notes that OCS makes.
Correct.
The ones that I was quoting, that saying what they do. She said they had evidence of them, changing them, or even going in after the fact and putting in things like saying that they did stuff, at the time when they didn't actually do it. So she told me this a while back, and she said if I ever saw anything in any of my cases and any of my discovery that looked weird, that I, contact her so that way they could keep track of it. So on Tuesday before the hearing, I had tried to call her, and I had sent her an email saying, hey, give me a call when you get a chance. I've got something on this. And she didn't end up calling me until Wednesday. And so she and I talked for half an hour. I told her the whole sorry story. And she was outraged, and she was hoping that Port Haydn was maybe one of the tribes that they represent, so that way she could jump in and maybe help out, legally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Port Haydn isn't one of the ones that they represent, but she said, okay, she said, you said the tribe's not involved, and I said, not really, they haven't really been involved in the court case at all.
Right.
And she said, well, she's like, do they know what's going on? And I'm like, well, probably not, just what OCS is telling them. And she said, she's like, this is ridiculous. And she's like, if you tell them about how the court found active efforts for that, she's like, they will probably get pretty upset and want to maybe get more involved. And she said, and if they have a tribal court, we can have the case removed to tribal court, get it out of the state court entirely, make it so Judge McConaughey cannot touch it, get it out of OCS, and then the tribe handles it. And most often with that, they will work, and I know that you're not the tribal parent. I know there's a lot of misconceptions about tribes sometimes, favoring the tribal parent, and sometimes that does happen. But 9 times out of 10, they're much more, they want to make sure that the kids are with family, and they'll work with both parents. And so I looked them up, and they do have a tribal court. I called and left a message over there yesterday. But if we can make this happen, we could get this case entirely out of OCS, entirely out of Judge McConaughey, to the tribal court, and hopefully they'll reunify with you with your kids. I mean, I've done this exact same thing. I didn't know Port Haydn had a tribal court. Otherwise, I would have thought of it. I can't believe I didn't. But anyways, I had a case years ago with a woman who had done everything on her case plan, but OCS just didn't like her, and they weren't going to reunify.
Right.
And they were going to do a whole adoption and everything. And Native Village of Barrow stepped in, and the tribal court took over the case. And literally the next day, she had her kids back.
Wow.
So there's hope.
Wow.
There's hope.
Okay, so I just edited all of that stuff on there, like right now. I'm going down as much as I can, and I'm removing removing it all right now. So also,